We're going to look at some CO2 bulbs and talk about specifications for the CO2 bulbs that you use in your FiZZ handheld black banana-shaped CO2 dispenser. Here are a couple of CO2 bulbs. You can see the one in the rear is a FiZZ brand CO2 bulb. Notice that it says there's a 25-cent refundable deposit for the empty bulbs. Yes, I do pay 25 cents a piece for you to send them back to me. So don't throw them away. Save them up. When you've got a couple hundred of them, throw them in a box. You can put them in a USPS priority mail box. It'll ship for $10, or you can spend less, maybe spend $7 or $8. Send them to me and I'll pay you $50 for them, a quarter a piece. The bulb in front is a bulb from a really swell guy named John with Red Rock Distributing. John loves selling CO2 bulbs to FiZZ customers, and he offers a very competitive price according to many of my customers. The important thing about buying CO2 bulbs is you cannot go out of the specifications. And I'm talking about specifications on the length of the bulb and the diameter of the neck. The diameter of the neck here is 8.3 millimeters. Larger diameter necks will crack the CO2 regulator inside your handheld dispenser. If you force them in, you'll crack it. If you break the regulator, the only way to fix it is with a brand new regulator. John's bulbs, I've measured these bulbs, and they are within the tolerance at the neck. However, these bulbs are a little longer. I'm going to show you that. We're going to measure a FiZZ bulb. All right. Now, this bulb, this FiZZ bulb measures out at 3 inches and 378 thousandths. Now, we're going to measure this one. All right, this Red Rock bulb measures 3 inches, 453 thousandths. So it's a good 70 thousandths oversized. Now, the length of the bulb can affect it can prevent you from closing the FiZZ all the way. If you force it in, you put too much pressure against the pressure regulator, too much force against the pressure regulator, and you can break it. Now here's a FiZZ kit. All right, this is the manual that comes with the kit. Generally, you'll have a couple of CO2 bulbs, FiZZ branded bulbs. You'll have a couple of caps, and you'll have this black banana-shaped CO2 dispenser. Handheld, thumb-operated. You see the thumb button. All right. The way that it works is very simple. You unscrew the rear cup section from the forward section. There's the gap where the two meet. Now I'm going to unscrew it. Okay, so you have the forward section, you have the rear section. We're going to put the bulbs in the rear section and screw them on one at a time. First, we're going to use the FiZZ branded bulb. Alright, so put it in here, screw it on. Okay, now, if you notice, it closes up the gap pretty darn tight. I'll screw a little more, and it's not a problem. That gap is completely shut, at least as closed as it needs to be. And now let's empty this bulb. You remember, this is the bulb that has 3.37 inches in length. So we're just wasting a CO2 bulb here. Okay, that's pretty much empty. So let's remove it. And they're generally pretty cold. Yep, this one's cold. If you look closely, you can see the vapors. Alrighty. Okay, so let's put that one back. Now let's put this bulb inside and see what happens. Okay, put it in the cup. And we screw it on. Okay, take a look at this. I guarantee you that it's screwed on far enough. I can feel it. I know about how tight to screw it. You test it by hitting the button. If the gas is coming out, and it is, and it's not leaking, you can put this up to your ear and listen to see if there's leaking going on. Then it's screwed on far enough. Do not over tighten this. If you try to close up this gap, and this is a gap of about, let's see here how big of a gap this is. I don't really know for sure, but okay, that's pretty darn close. That's a gap of about 88 thousandths, and that is too darn much. Notice how this thing's frosting up a lot here. Can you see that? Very cold. That's too darn much to try to close this. If you attempt to screw the back cup further on here to close that gap, because you want closure in your life in all matters, well, guess what? You're going to break the pressure regulator that's inside here. So, if you don't really know when to stop screwing this thing in, then you better just buy FiZZ bulbs, because they're the exact correct length. You can close the gap if you want to. However, if you don't use these FiZZ bulbs and you go on and buy, the other brands, and they're too long, and you continue to screw this thing on, you're going to put so much force in this direction against the pressure regulator, you're going to crack it. And please, we don't cover cracked CO2 bulbs. I have a bulb that works, and this is what you buy and you can use. If you want to use externally branded bulbs, then please bear in mind that, yes, if their neck diameters do not exceed 8.3 millimeters, then you can do that. Now, notice how this thing is really frosted up here, huh? Okay, now let's go ahead and bleed this one. Well, it got cold and it froze up inside. So that's what happens if you continually expel CO2. It gets very, very cold. As you can see, this one's frosting up, so the inside of the FiZZ is frozen up. Normally, the CO2 doesn't exhaust, this quickly. Takes a little bit waiting. Okay, that's about it. And even the tip here is starting to get iced. can see the frost forming on the tip of this thing here. It's pretty cold. CO2 is pretty darn cold. Okay, so let's take it off. And you see there's a gap. This bulb out. Okay, so you can check that bulb out. It too is very, very cold. So,